First up, the 1940s Lincoln Wheat Penny holds a unique place. While it is not considered an extremely rare coin, its value, even in a dirty or circulated condition, can be surprising to some collectors or casual holders. This video will explore the coin's background, minting details, and most importantly, its value in today's market, specifically focusing on the 1940 penny with an S. Mint mark in less than perfect condition. The Lincoln Wheat Penny was first minted in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It replaced the Indian head cent, and it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse features a right-facing profile of Lincoln. On the reverse side of the coin, there are two wheat stalks encircling the words 1 cent and the United States of America. This wheat design was used until 1958, after which it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. The 1940s Lincoln Wheat Penny was minted in San Francisco. During that year, over 112 million of these coins were struck, making it a relatively common issue compared to other dates in the series. Because of this large mintage, it's not categorized among the rarest Lincoln Wheat Pennies, but condition and collector interests still play significant roles in its value. When it comes to coins, condition is everything. In numismatics, this is referred to as the coin's grade. A coin in mint state condition, meaning it shows no signs of wear and retains full luster, will always be worth more than the same coin in a worn or dirty state. However, many collectors and enthusiasts are interested in coins regardless of their condition, particularly if they are from a significant historical period or feature a sought-after mint mark. The 1940 S penny, being minted in San Francisco, carries the S mint mark just below the date on the obverse. This distinguishes it from the Philadelphia and Denver issues of the same year. The S mint mark adds a certain appeal to collectors who aim to complete sets including coins from all three mints. Now, turning our attention to the value of the 1940s Lincoln Wheat Penny in dirty or heavily circulated condition. It is important to clarify what we mean by dirty. A dirty coin typically refers to a coin that has accumulated surface grime, discoloration, or corrosion from years of circulation. Such coins may not necessarily be heavily worn, but their eye appeal is reduced due to the presence of dirt or other substances on the surface. The presence of dirt, however, does not always equate to reduced value. In fact, cleaning a coin to remove dirt is discouraged in numismatics. Cleaning can leave fine scratches, dull the surface, or otherwise damage the coin, leading to lower overall value. Professional graders and collectors prefer coins in their natural state, even if they appear unattractive at first glance. A 1940s Lincoln Wheat Penny in circulated condition, even if dirty, generally holds a value above face value. This is because the coin is now over 80 years old and no longer produced. As of the current market trends in 2025, a dirty or well-worn 1940s penny typically sells for between 5 cents to 25 cents, depending on the severity of the wear and the level of grime. If the coin is just lightly soiled but retains readable details in a visible mint mark, it may command closer to the higher end of that range. In bulk sales, such as a collection of wheat pennies sold together, individual 194 OS coins in dirty, the condition may be valued even less, perhaps around 3 to 5 cents per coin, because bulk buyers tend to pay based on volume and weight rather than individual attributes. However, in one-on-one sales, especially if the coin is marketed as a specific date and mint mark, it can sell for a bit more. There is also a psychological aspect to coin value. A coin might not have significant intrinsic worth but may be perceived as valuable because of its age or historical character. Many people find wheat pennies fascinating because they represent an earlier period of American history. They might not be rare, but they are certainly nostalgic. Another factor influencing the value of the 1940s penny is the copper content. Like all pre-1982 pennies, the 1940s was made primarily of copper. These coins contain about 95% copper and weigh 3.11 grams. When copper prices are high, the metal value of the coin can approach or even exceed its collector value. However, melting coins for their metal content is illegal under U.S. law, so this value is more theoretical than practical for most collectors. In dirty condition, the value will not approach that of coins in higher grades. For example, a 1940s Lincoln Wheat Penny graded MS65, read by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, can sell for over $10 to $20, sometimes more depending on market demand. Coins with exceptional eye appeal, or those in mint state red condition, meaning they retain nearly all of their original color and luster, can fetch prices upwards of $50 or higher. But in circulated dirty condition, we are mostly dealing with modest values. Nonetheless, even modest values can add up if someone finds a jar of wheat pennies tucked away in a drawer or passed down from a relative. A handful of 1940s pennies, even in poor condition, may be worth a few dollars collectively and provide a gateway into the hobby of coin collecting. Another aspect to consider is that some people look for errors or variations in coins, which can sometimes lead to surprisingly high values. Although no major errors are commonly associated with the 1940s Lincoln Wheat Penny, minor die cracks, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks do occasionally surface. These errors, if authenticated and sought after by collectors, can significantly increase a coin's value even in circulated condition. In such cases, values can reach several dollars, even if the coin is otherwise dirty or worn. Collectors often advise people not to clean coins they intend to sell or preserve. Removing the dirt may seem like a good idea, but any abrasive cleaning can severely hurt the value. A coin that appears dull and lifeless after cleaning is often less desirable than one that has aged naturally, even if it is dirty. In numismatics, originality is often preferred over artificial brightness. In summary, the 1940s Lincoln Wheat Penny, though common, still holds value in the current market. For a coin in dirty or circulated condition, the typical range is around 5 to 25 cents depending on appearance and market demand. While it may not be a windfall, the value lies not only in the dollars and cents but in the historical connection, the enjoyment of collecting, and the small thrill of finding a coin that has passed through countless hands over the decades. Next up, the 1940 penny without a mint mark is one that often sparks curiosity. Today, we're diving into this specific coin to explore its history, details, and most importantly, its value in today's market even when found in dirty or circulated condition. Let's start with a little background. The Lincoln Wheat Penny was first minted in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a president's portrait, a significant departure from earlier coin designs that typically featured symbolic imagery. The reverse side of the coin displays two wheat stalks, giving the coin its familiar nickname, the Wheat Penny. The 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny was produced in large quantities, with over 586 million coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Coins from this mint do not carry a mint mark. So when you find a 1940 penny without any letter under the date, you're looking at a Philadelphia issue. Because of this high mintage, the 1940 penny is generally considered common among wheat pennies. However, certain factors can influence its value significantly. When it comes to coin collecting and valuation, condition is one of the most important elements. Professional grading organizations like PCGS and NGC use a 70-point scale to grade coins, with 1 being the lowest, or poor, and 70 being a perfect mint-state coin. A dirty 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny, particularly one that has seen considerable circulation, will typically fall at the lower end of that scale. This means its grade might be anywhere from good to fine, depending on the level of wear and any damage. A common question people have is, does a dirty coin have any value at all? The answer is yes, though the value is modest. Even heavily circulated and dirty 1940 pennies hold some value due to their copper content and historical interest. Unlike modern pennies, which are made mostly of zinc, wheat pennies contain about 95% copper. This intrinsic metal value can play a small part in determining a coin's worth, especially when copper prices rise. As of today, in the general marketplace, a 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny, without a mint mark and in dirty or average circulated condition, typically sells for around 5 to 15 cents. This price can fluctuate slightly depending on the demand for wheat pennies and the overall state of the coin. If a coin is excessively worn, corroded, or scratched, it might bring closer to the lower end of that range. On the other hand, if the coin is just a little dirty but otherwise has strong details, it may fetch a bit more. Now, what makes some 1940 pennies stand out from others? Even though the base coin is common, there are rare variations and error coins that can be worth significantly more. Some 1940 pennies may have striking errors, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or die cracks. These errors are rare and not always visible at first glance. If you suspect you have an error coin, it's best to have it evaluated by a professional. Error coins, even in circulated condition, can be worth several dollars to several $100s, depending on the nature and rarity of the error. Another factor that adds value is the eye appeal. While your coin may be dirty, a careful and safe cleaning, not recommended unless done by a professional, can sometimes reveal better detail that increases the coin's grade and therefore its value. However, collectors generally prefer coins in their original, unclean state. Improper cleaning can damage a coin and reduce its value significantly. If you have a 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny and you're considering selling it, you have several options. You could take it to a local coin dealer for an appraisal, sell it online through platforms like eBay, or include it as part of a bulk lot if you have other wheat pennies. While one coin alone, in dirty condition, may not bring a large sum, grouping it with others can appeal to beginner collectors or crafters who use old coins in art projects. there's also a sentimental and educational value in coins like these. Even if your 1940 penny is only worth 10 cents, it's a small piece of American history. This coin has passed through many hands over the decades and has its own story to tell. It reminds us of a different era, when items like a penny had more purchasing power and Abraham Lincoln's legacy was honored in everyday transactions. For collectors just getting started, wheat pennies like the 1940 no-mint mark coin offer a great entry point. They're inexpensive, widely available, and a perfect way to begin learning about grading, mint marks, and U.S. coin history. You might even start a collection by year, or look for variations like steel cents from 1943, or the rare 1909 SVD penny. In summary, a 1940 Lincoln wheat penny, without a mint mark and in dirty or heavily circulated condition, is generally worth around 5 to 15 cents in today's market. While not a rare or high-value coin, it still holds interest for collectors, especially beginners or those looking for coins to fill out a wheat penny collection. Always remember, the story behind the coin often adds more value than just the number attached to it. Whether you're holding on to it for sentimental reasons, hoping to complete a collection, or just curious about its worth, your 1940 penny is a small but enduring piece of American numismatic history. Next up, 1952 Lincoln wheat penny. When it carries the Denver Mint mark indicated by a small d beneath the date, it becomes what is known as the 1952D wheat penny. Now, this might not seem like a rare coin at first glance. Over 746 million of them were minted at the Denver Mint in that year alone. However, when it comes to coin collecting, rarity isn't just about mintage numbers. Other factors come into play, such as condition, color, and die varieties. Today, we'll be taking a closer look at the 1952D Lincoln wheat penny, specifically in black-toned or dark-shaded condition, a characteristic that can affect its value significantly. We'll break down its history, design, condition considerations, and most importantly, what this coin is worth in today's market. The obverse of the 1952D wheat penny features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln. Facing right, the words, "In God We Trust," are inscribed above his head, with liberty to his left and the year 1952 to his right. Just below the date, the D mint mark represents the Denver Mint. The reverse side displays two wheat ears that curve inward from the left and right edges of the coin, framing the phrases 1 cent and United States of America. Above this is the Latin phrase e pluribus unum, meaning out of many. Collectors grade coins based on their condition, and this plays a crucial role in determining a coin's value. For wheat pennies, the grading scale ranges from poor P1 to mint state MS70. But even within those grades, the color and toning of the coin can greatly influence its market appeal and, ultimately, its price. A black or dark-toned Lincoln penny may appear different from the traditional red or brown ones, and its value can vary depending on whether the toning occurred naturally or as a result of damage or improper storage. Natural toning occurs over time as the metal reacts with air and moisture. Collectors sometimes prize these unique colorations when they add character without damaging the coin's details. On the other hand, coins that have turned black due to corrosion or exposure to harsh chemicals often lose value unless they are exceptionally rare or have historical significance. In the case of the 1952D Lincoln wheat penny, black or dark coloration usually falls into the category of environmental damage. This doesn't necessarily make the coin worthless, but it usually lowers its collector value, especially if the toning obscures the coin's features. That said, there are exceptions. If a black-shaded 1952D penny is in high grade, say, mint state 65 or higher, and has eye appeal, despite its toning, it could still fetch a decent price on the market. Toning is highly subjective, and what one collector sees as damage, another might view as a unique aesthetic. Now let's talk about market value. In circulated condition, a typical 1952D Lincoln wheat penny is worth about 3 to 10 cents. These coins are common and are often found in mixed rolls or bulk lots of wheat pennies, even in better circulated grades. Like very fine VF or extremely fine EF, the value doesn't rise significantly, maybe up to 25 cents, especially if the coin has good detail and minimal surface damage. In uncirculated condition, however, the value changes dramatically. A 1952D wheat penny graded MS62 MS63 can be worth between 75 cents and $3. If the coin is red, that is, it retains its original mint luster and is in a high grade like MS65 or MS66. Its value could range from $10 to $25 or more, depending on demand and the coin's eye appeal. The black coloration adds a layer of complexity. A black 1952D penny in circulated condition typically does not command a premium. In fact, it might be discounted compared to its brown or red counterparts due to perceived damage or lack of visual appeal. You might see these coins sold in lots or online auctions for as little as a few cents each. unless the toning is judged to be attractive or the coin is part of a broader collector theme like toned coins or oddities. However, in exceptional cases, black-toned 1952D pennies that grade highly and maintain sharp details can be sold for higher prices, especially if a collector finds the toning visually appealing. A certified slabbed example in MS condition with dark or black toning and good strike quality might bring in $5 to $15 if marketed well. But this is the exception rather than the rule. Another factor influencing value is errors or die varieties. The 1952D penny does not have many well-known varieties, but minor errors like die cracks, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks can exist. If such an error is present on a black-colored coin and the details are still visible, the value could go up. Error collectors might pay $20 to $50 or more for unusual features, even if the coin is toned or darkened. To summarize, the 1952D Lincoln Wheat Penny is a common coin in circulated grades, with millions still in existence. Its base value in average condition is very low, just a few cents. Uncirculated examples can be worth several dollars, particularly if they retain original red luster. Black or dark-toned coins are generally less desirable to traditional collectors, unless they are high-grade or exhibit interesting natural toning. In today's market, a black 1952D wheat penny in average circulated condition might sell for around 5 to 10 cents. In higher uncirculated grades, especially if certified by a grading service like PCGS or NGC, it could be worth $5 to $15, possibly more, if the toning is deemed attractive, or if the coin has an unusual error. For collectors, it's important to evaluate each coin on its own merits. The 1952D wheat penny may not be the rarest or most valuable Lincoln cent, but it's part of a beloved series that continues to be a gateway into the world of coin collecting. Whether your coin is red, brown, or black in tone, what matters most is how it fits into your collection and the story it tells. Next up, the 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny with the Denver Mint mark, also known as the 1941D wheat cent. We'll take a detailed look at this coin's background, its design, mintage numbers, and most importantly, its value in today's market particularly. In good circulated condition, if you have one of these coins in your possession, you might be wondering if it's worth anything significant. Let's find out. To start, the 1941D Lincoln Wheat Penny is part of a larger series of wheat cents that were minted from 1909 to 1958. These coins are called wheat pennies because of the stylized wheat stalks on the reverse side of the coin. The 1941D version was struck at the Denver Mint, which is indicated by the small d mint mark just below the date on the obverse side of the coin. The obverse of the coin features a profile portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. The image has been iconic since its introduction in 1909, celebrating the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Above Lincoln's head, the words "In God We Trust" appear. To the left, you'll see the word Liberty, and to the right is the date, in this case, 1941, along with the D Mint mark denoting the Denver Mint. Turning the coin over to the reverse side, you'll notice two stylized wheat stalks framing the sides. Between them, the words 1 cent are prominently displayed, along with United States of America underneath. Above that is the motto E pluribus unam, which means out of many, one. In terms of mintage, the 1941D penny was produced in large numbers. The Denver Mint struck approximately 128 million of these coins in 1941. That high mintage means the coin is not particularly rare, at least not in lower circulated grades. However, condition and demand still play a significant role in determining value. So, how much is a 1941D Lincoln Wheat Penny worth today? That largely depends on its condition. In coin collecting, condition is everything. The coin grading scale, known as the Sheldon scale, ranges from poor P1 to perfect mint state MS70. For this video, we're focusing on coins that are in what collectors call good condition. This is the lowest level of the circulated grades and is typically defined by a coin that is heavily worn but still identifiable. On such a coin, most of the finer details, like Lincoln's hair and the wheat lines on the reverse, are worn flat. But the key design elements remain visible. In today's market, a 1941D Lincoln Wheat Penny in good condition is worth about 5 to 10 cents. Might not sound like much, and truthfully, it isn't a fortune. However, that's still 5 to 10 times its face value, which is a decent return if you found it in a pile of pocket change or in a forgotten coin jar. It also highlights how even common coins can retain some value over time due to historical interest and collector demand. Now, while the average good condition 1941D wheat penny may not be worth much, it's important to consider other factors that can affect value. One of these is eye appeal. Even a coin that is technically in good condition may fetch a higher price if it has a uniform tone, lacks major scratches or corrosion, and has decent overall color. Another factor to keep in mind is whether the coin has any errors or varieties. For example, some 1941D Lincoln cents have been found with minor die cracks, repunched, mint marks, or doubled dies. These varieties can be more valuable, even in circulated grades. A coin with a repunched mint mark, where the D was struck more than once in slightly different positions, can be worth a few dollars even in lower grades. If the error is dramatic or well documented, prices can be significantly higher. It's also worth mentioning that even though the 1941D coin was made from a composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, its metal value is negligible. The copper content of a single penny is not enough to exceed its face value due to regulations that prevent the melting of U.S. pennies for raw materials. However, the copper composition does give the coin a distinctive reddish-brown tone, which can influence a collector's appreciation for eye appeal. Another interesting aspect is the historical context. The year 1941 marked the United States' entry into World War II following the attack on Pearl Harbor in December. Although this didn't impact penny production directly that year, coins from this era often carry additional historical appeal for collectors who are interested in warrior memorabilia. While the good condition 1941D penny is modest in value, the same coin in higher grades tells a different story. For instance, in extremely fine condition, the coin might be worth about 50 cents to $1. In about uncirculated condition, values climb toward $1.50 or more. And in mint state, especially coins graded MS63 and above, values can range from $3 to $10 or even higher, depending on luster, strike, and eye appeal for coins in top-tier grades, particularly MS65 or MS66, certified by third-party grading services like PCGS or NGC. Values can exceed $20 or more. The highest auction prices for a 1941D Lincoln cent have approached or surpassed $100, but only in superb gem condition with exceptional quality. If you think you have a 1941D wheat penny and you're curious about its potential value, the best thing to do is first evaluate its condition. Use online grading guides or consult a local coin dealer. If you believe the coin might be in higher grade or has a possible error, you may even consider having it graded by a professional service. In conclusion, the 1941D Lincoln Wheat Penny is a common coin with a modest value and good condition, usually worth between 5 and 10 cents. However, it remains a popular collectible due to its classic design, historical context, and role in one of the most beloved series in American numismatics. While it won't make you rich, it's a great reminder of the value of history, craftsmanship, and the hidden treasures that might be sitting in your change jar right now. Next up, the 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny minted in Denver, designated by the small d mint mark, found just below the date on the obverse side. This script will focus specifically on the 1940D Lincoln Wheat Penny, examining its history, mintage numbers, and most importantly, its current value in the coin market when found in normal, circulated condition. To begin, it's essential to understand the background of the coin. The 1940D penny was produced during a time when the U.S. Mint was churning out large quantities of coinage. In that year alone, the Denver Mint struck over 81 million Lincoln pennies. That number might seem staggering, and it is, especially when compared to rarer mintages in other years. Because of this high mintage, the 1940D penny is not considered rare in the absolute sense. However, certain factors like condition, luster, and strike quality can impact its value. From a historical standpoint, the 1940D penny was produced at the tail end of the Great Depression and just before the United States entered World War II. The economy was beginning to recover, and coin production was ramping up to meet increasing demand. These coins were made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, the standard composition for Lincoln pennies from 1909 until 1942. This copper-based alloy gives the coin its classic reddish-brown hue. When assessing the value of any coin, the most important factor is condition. Professional grading services, such as the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, use a standardized 70-point scale to determine a coin's grade. For most casual collectors, however, coins are simply categorized as circulated or uncirculated. A coin in circulated condition has been used in daily transactions and will show signs of wear. Uncirculated coins are those that have never been used and retain their original mint luster. Since the focus here is on coins in normal, circulated condition, we will exclude premium uncirculated or mint state coins from this discussion. Instead, let's consider what a typical 1940D penny might look like after decades of use. You can expect such a coin to have significant wear on Lincoln's hair and cheek, flattening in the wheat stalks on the reverse, and potentially small nicks or scratches. In terms of market value, a 1940D Lincoln Wheat Penny in average circulated condition generally sells for between 5 and 15 cents. Yes, this is more than its face value of 1 cent. but not dramatically so. The reason for this modest premium is the coin's common nature and large mintage. Still, there is consistent demand for these coins among beginners and those building daytime mint sets. Coins, in slightly better than average condition, those that retain more detail and show less wear, can fetch slightly higher prices. These might range from 25 cents to 50 cents depending on the exact grade and appearance. If a coin shows a particularly strong strike or has a more original red color rather than the typical brown or dull patina of older copper coins, it may appeal to more advanced collectors and command a bit more. It's important to note that pricing for circulated coins fluctuates slightly with the broader coin market and the price of copper. As of mid-2025, copper prices have been relatively stable, so melt value doesn't significantly impact the coin's worth. Because the coin is a numismatic item rather than bullion, its collector value holds more weight than its metal content. One of the reasons some people believe their 1940D penny is worth a fortune is because of misinformation or confusion with era coins or coins in exceptional condition. For example, a 1940D penny graded MS67 read by PCGS or NGC can sell for several $100s at auction, sometimes even more if it's among the finest known examples. However, these coins are in pristine, mint-state condition and have never been used in circulation. They are extremely rare and are not the same as the average coins found in pocket change, jars, or inherited collections. When looking to sell a 1940D penny in circulated condition, your best bet is through local coin shops, online marketplaces, like eBay or coin shows. On eBay, a quick search reveals that typical circulated 1940D pennies sell in lots such as groups of 10 or 50 coins for a few dollars. Individually, they are often listed for under $1, but actual sale prices usually fall in the range of 10 to 20 cents, depending on the listing and demand at the time. For buyers or collectors interested in adding a 1940D penny to their collection, the advantage lies in affordability. It's a low-cost way to own a piece of American numismatic history and a good entry point for beginners. Many collectors strive to complete a full set of Lincoln wheat pennies from 1909 to 1958, which includes the 1940D. Because this coin is widely available, it's one of the easiest to acquire in the series. To sum up, the 1940D Lincoln wheat penny is not considered rare in the world of coin collecting. Its high mintage means millions still exist, and many are available in circulated condition. In today's market, a 1940D penny in average circulated condition typically holds a value between 5 and 15 cents. Coins in better shape can reach 25 to 50 cents. And exceptionally well-preserved examples graded by a professional service can reach values in the hundreds of dollars, though that falls outside the scope of normal. Circulated examples. If you're someone who's found a 1940D penny in a coin jar, drawer, or inherited collection, it's a nice keepsake and a reminder of America's rich monetary history. While it may not buy you anything extravagant, it's a great piece for anyone starting a coin collection or simply appreciating the legacy of Lincoln's enduring presence on U.S. currency. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more coin collecting content. See you in next time. Happy collecting.
1973 Lincoln 1-cent coin is part of the long-running Lincoln Cent series that began in 1909. This coin features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse side features the Lincoln Memorial, a design that was introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, replacing the earlier wheat ears reverse. The 1973 penny was minted primarily at the Philadelphia Mint, as well as the Denver Mint, with the Philadelphia coins generally bearing no mint mark, and Denver coins marked with a small D. The 1973 cent is made of a bronze composition, 95% copper, with 5% zinc and tin. Unlike modern pennies, which have shifted to predominantly zinc cores, with a copper plating starting in 1982, the 1973 penny remains a solid bronze coin. This composition gives it a distinctive weight and sound compared to newer pennies. Despite being a relatively common coin with millions minted, the 1973 penny holds historical value as a snapshot of American coinage during the early 1970s. This era saw the United States transitioning through significant cultural and economic changes, and the coin circulated widely during this period. Now, when it comes to condition, most 1973 pennies found today are heavily circulated and show various signs of wear and damage. Bad condition coins often have significant surface wear, scratches, discoloration, corrosion, or even environmental damage. In these states, the fine details of Lincoln's face and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse are often worn smooth, making it difficult to distinguish mint marks or small details. Collectors often refer to these as poor, good, or about good grades, which are at the lower end of the coin grading scale. In terms of value, a 1973 penny in bad condition is generally worth only its face value, 1 cent, because it was minted in vast numbers. There is no particular rarity or minting error associated with the 1973 Lincoln cent that would significantly boost its value in heavily worn condition. That said, some collectors may pay a small premium for coins that are in better condition, or those with unique die errors or minting anomalies, but such finds are extremely rare for this year. For example, any 1973 Lincoln cent with unusual die cracks, double strikes, or off-center strikes could attract some interest, but again, the vast majority of 1973 pennies in poor condition remain worth only a penny. Due to their bronze composition, they can sometimes be mistaken for older pennies by casual collectors, but their value is firmly tied to condition and rarity. Next up, the 1980 Lincoln 1-cent coin is part of the iconic Lincoln cent series that has been in continuous production since 1909. This particular coin features the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the front, designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse side, like most Lincoln cents minted from 1959 to 2008, displays the Lincoln Memorial, a tribute to the 16th president and a symbol of unity and freedom. The coin was produced at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with the Philadelphia coins lacking a mint mark and the Denver ones marked with a D. Made primarily of bronze, the 1980 penny contains 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin, giving it a solid, substantial feel. This composition was standard until 1982, after which the U.S. Mint switched to a predominantly zinc core with a thin copper plating to reduce production costs. Because of this, 1,980 pennies are heavier and more durable than their modern counterparts. In terms of circulation, the 1980 Lincoln cent was produced in large quantities, with hundreds of millions minted that year, making it a very common coin in everyday use. During 1980, the United States was undergoing economic challenges such as inflation and energy crises, and pennies like this one continued to facilitate daily commerce and transactions. When a 1980 penny is found in bad condition, it typically shows significant wear from decades of circulation. These pennies often have smooth surfaces where the details of Lincoln's face and the Lincoln Memorial have faded, along with scratches, discoloration, or corrosion caused by exposure to moisture and handling. In coin grading terms, these examples might be categorized as good or about good, which are among the lowest grades indicating heavy wear. Regarding value, a 1980 Lincoln cent in poor condition usually holds only its face value of 1 cent. Because so many were minted, and because there are no widely known rare varieties or minting errors from this year that significantly increase value, worn 1980 pennies are not considered valuable by most collectors. However, collectors sometimes seek out coins with specific die errors or unique characteristics, but such anomalies are rare for the 1980 penny. Occasionally, 1,980 pennies may display minor errors such as doubled dies, weak strikes, or off-center strikes. These can add a small premium in value, but again, these are uncommon and generally not found in heavily worn coins. Therefore, the vast majority of 1980 pennies you come across in bad condition will be worth just a penny. Despite their low monetary value, these worn pennies represent the tangible history of everyday American life. Each one has passed through countless hands, seen years of economic changes, and remained a constant in the nation's currency. While the 1980 Lincoln cent in bad condition might not be worth much to collectors, it still holds value as a piece of history. Next up, the 1990 Lincoln 1-cent coin is part of the famous Lincoln cent series, which has been continuously minted since 1909. This coin features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side, designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse side of the 1990 penny displays the Lincoln Memorial, a design used from 1959 until 2008 to honor the 16th president and symbolize unity and freedom. In 1990, pennies were produced at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Coins from Philadelphia have no mint mark, while Denver coins bear a small D on the obverse. The 1990 penny is made primarily of copper-plated zinc, a significant change from earlier pennies. In 1982, the U.S. Mint switched from the traditional bronze composition to mostly zinc, with a thin copper plating to save on rising copper costs. As a result, 1990 pennies weigh less than their pre-1982 bronze counterparts, but still maintain a classic copper color and appearance. The 1990 Lincoln cent was minted in extremely high quantities. Hundreds of millions of coins were produced, making it one of the most common pennies from this era. Because of their sheer numbers and commonality, these pennies were primarily intended for everyday transactions. They circulated widely across the United States during a time marked by economic growth and technological advances. Yet their design remained a steady symbol of American heritage. When a 1990 penny is found in bad condition, it often shows heavy wear and tear from decades of circulation. In poor condition, the coin's fine details may be severely faded. Lincoln's face can appear smooth or nearly featureless, and the lines of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse can be worn flat. The coin may also exhibit scratches, discoloration, environmental corrosion, or dirt accumulation. Collectors usually classify such heavily worn coins under low grades like good or about good, which represent significant circulation and damage. In terms of value, a 1990 penny in bad condition is generally worth only its face value, 1 cent. Because these pennies were produced in massive quantities and lack any major rare errors or unique varieties from this year, heavily circulated examples hold little numismatic value beyond their use as currency. The market demand for these coins in poor condition is very low, and most collectors look for better preserved examples if they want to add 1990 pennies to their collections. However, there are rare instances where a 1990 penny might carry some extra value. These include coins with notable mint errors such as doubled dies, off-center strikes, or die cracks. Though these errors do exist in very limited numbers, they are seldom found in heavily worn coins because such imperfections are easier to identify on cleaner, sharper coins. Therefore, any value premium from errors on a 1990 penny would usually come from better condition examples. Even though a badly worn 1990 penny is unlikely to be worth more than its face value, it still has historical and sentimental value. These coins are physical reminders of the everyday economy of the late 20th century and represent the long-lasting tradition of the Lincoln cent series. Each penny carries a small piece of American history, having passed through countless hands over the years. Next up, the 1967 Lincoln 1-cent coin is a notable example from the long-standing Lincoln cent series, which began in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. This coin features the classic portrait of Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner, which has been a defining image on the penny for over a century. The reverse side of the 1967 penny shows the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to replace the original wheat ears reverse. This design remained in use until 2008, making the 1967 penny part of a significant era in U.S. coinage. In 1967, all Lincoln cents were minted exclusively at the Philadelphia Mint. No Denver or San Francisco mint pennies were produced this year, which is somewhat unusual for U.S. coinage. This means that all 1967 pennies lack a mint mark, making them easy to identify. The coin was composed of bronze, which is 95% copper, and 5% tin and zinc, a composition used for pennies minted before 1982. This gives the coin a distinctive reddish-brown appearance and a heavier weight compared to pennies produced after 1982, which switched to a zinc core with copper plating. The 1967 penny was minted during a turbulent time in American history, amid social change and economic challenges. Despite this, the Lincoln cent remained a consistent presence in everyday transactions, circulating widely throughout the country. When a 1967 penny is found in bad condition, it usually shows heavy signs of wear. These pennies may be significantly worn down, with Lincoln's facial features and the details of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse becoming smooth or barely visible. Badly worn coins may also have scratches, discoloration, corrosion, or other damage from decades of circulation. In coin grading terms, these coins might be classified as good or about good, which are low grades indicating significant wear. In terms of value, a 1967 penny in bad condition generally holds little value above its face value of 1 cent. Since millions were minted, and there are no major rare varieties or errors for this year, worn 1967 pennies are common and not highly sought after by collectors. The large quantity produced means these coins are widely available, so unless the coin is in exceptional condition or has a unique error, it typically has no premium value. There are, however, rare exceptions involving mint errors such as doubled dies or die cracks, but these are extremely uncommon for 1967 pennies and usually command interest only if found in better condition. For heavily worn coins, such errors are difficult to detect, and such coins do not usually command a premium.